All right, cool. And we are live for the second time. God bless.
Hey, God bless everyone. Yeah.
God bless to everybody. This only took a month and a half to actually get done.
Been looking forward to it.
So, funny background story. We actually recorded this This is like the second time that we record this podcast. And the first time, I have no clue why my machine didn't save it correctly. I didn't have my headphones. But we basically just had a conversation amongst us because
Let me tell you, it was a good conversation.
yeah. It was a real good conversation. But I was like, I can't believe that this didn't get recorded. Like I'm still in denial. But you know, that was the past and this is the future. This is the present right now.
Yes.
So the topic of this podcast is the Matrix in Christianity.
Oh, snap.
Holy smokes.
I know that got some people concerned already.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, right.
How dare you compare Christianity to a movie?
Wow. Yeah. So, and you know, in case of anybody's been living in a rock, you know, the movie The Matrix was just one of those movies that was like it was the woke movement of back then, right? It was like the movie that really got everybody into like wokeness.
It was what, 1989?
1999. Yeah. So you know, you got Keanu Reeves, who plays he plays Neo.
Yeah.
And then you have I always forget the actor who plays Morpheus. I don't know why.
No,
but
just call him Morpheus. I'm really bad with the names.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't really pay attention to like real life people, like only like the, you know, the fictitious actors. But you know, we have Neo, and it just like a quick depiction of Neo. Neo was just regular TI tech guy who just has a regular job. He lives on top of a bar, doesn't have any type of malicious like he doesn't have like he's not addicted to anything.
No,
like he's not an alcoholic.
Nah.
He's not like a drug addict, which is kind of weird because that's what you see like a lot, like in these, like all these movies have to like, they have to come like with some sort of baggage. But he was like a squeaky clean, just regular 9-to-5er, lived on top of a bar, had a cat, and just
a lonely guy.
The American dream, huh?
Oh, is that what it is?
The American dream. And where the movie starts to kick off is kind of like what the Bible is in real life, right? The you know, he sits down and he looks at a computer and the computer starts giving him advices on what to do because these enemies came inside the office looking for him.
Yeah, isn't that wild? You start getting your computer, you're the programmer, but the computer's talking to you.
You're the programmer, but the computer is speaking to you and is telling you exactly what to do. And I guess, you know, him being a TI guy, you know, a tech guy, he believes into what he studied so much that it's like, why not listen to this thing that I've like spent my whole life learning?
Yeah.
Right? You know, very similar to the Bible.
Yeah, Abraham heard a voice and believed him. This guy saw a screen typing and he believed it.
Right.
Yeah.
So very that if you look at that computer, if it said the Bible on the screen, it would have been like very relatable because it's exactly what it is. You know, it's you know, following a certain rule, and not even so much a rule, but just following something that you have no idea of, and you're just following it.
Yeah.
You know, and as you go along, you start to learn. You know, you start to learn your path. You start to learn your purpose.
Yeah.
And very simultaneously, you know, if you look at it side by side, you know, it's very simultaneously. And then, you know, you fast forward and Neo is presented with this choice that he has to make for himself, which is the crazy part.
Yeah.
because there's not like somebody, you don't have like your friend, your mom is not there, your dad is not there,
Nobody. He was alone.
nobody.
Him, the cat, and the computer.
Yeah. But now you're in a white room, right? Because now you're like with this guy, and he's like explaining to you, hey, you could live the life that you're living right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you could not knowing what's going to happen in the future, or you could take this pill that's going to wake you up
And really set you free.
and really, really, really set you free of the grid that you're living in, that you don't even know. Like, you don't even realize that you're living in a grid until you take this.
Isn't that crazy though?
And it's like, like you kind of look at that and you're like, oh man, like this is kind of like intense. Like, it's like really, it is real life. And I think that that's why a lot of people really took a liking to that movie, is because it is real life. Like, it's the ability to have to choose one over the other.
Mm-hmm.
You could never, and this goes with everything, right?
Mhm.
Like, nobody goes to a restaurant and be like, yo, well, we eat appetizers, right?
Yeah.
But nobody orders 2 dinners, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have an appetizer, you have a dinner, but nobody orders 2 dinners. Nobody orders 2, like, especially like for like just like one person, and it's just like kind of crazy. Like, everything in life that you do, it's a choice. You could either eat the red light, or you could wait for the light to turn green.
Or in the Philly case,
Yeah.
you see the yellow light and not speed up.
Yeah, exactly. Because here in Philadelphia, yellow means green.
It means hurry up and get through before it turns red.
Yeah. So, but again, these are the choices, right? There's laws that's put that you could either follow the law or you could break the law, right? So everything in life is a choice. And there's no exception to Christianity, right? You have to make the choice. Do you follow Jesus Christ and accept him as your Lord and Savior? Or, and I'm not even going to, what's the word? Like, not disrespectful, but it takes time. Being saved takes time.
Yeah, for some people more than for others. Yeah.
Just because I go to church,
yeah, that doesn't make you
saved.
No, not at all.
Just because I'm related to a pastor or my father's a pastor, that doesn't make me saved, right? So it's the ability of understanding the person that you're following. You have to. It's a relationship, like anything else, right?
Yep.
You see a girl that you like, you give her your phone number,
Gotta follow her a little bit.
Yeah,
yo,
you gotta
holler at you.
Yeah, you gotta throw the bait a little bit. You just don't go from 0 to 10,000. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. You have to know, and as you get to know this person, now you say, is this person for me or not? And that's when the decision lies. But you have to.
What are they offering me, right?
Right. Like, what are they offering me? But like, everything comes with a knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So, this movie, like, you see Neo, and Neo is depicted as the one, and he doesn't know it.
He doesn't even know it. And he's presented with a question, though, at the beginning of the movie.
Right, yeah. He's presented with this question.
What's the Matrix?
Right. What is the Matrix?
What is the Matrix? That's interesting.
And because you don't know now, contrary to that, right? There's a lot of misconception when it comes to Christianity. Nobody asks, what is Christianity?
Yeah.
9 out of 10, they have their mind made up of what they think Christianity is, based upon the information that has been presented to them, either through media, either through
limited experiences.
Right, limited experience, a friend. A lot of and we have to keep it all the way 10,000. We got to keep it real. Not everybody's experience in the church has been a great experience.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And that's just like anything. Like, you might be with a boyfriend and he might have been like the worst guy ever that you've ever talked to. but not everybody's experience is going to be the best. You have to put yourself in a situation where you say, okay, this is the best scenario for me. This is the best worship place for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best, this pastor is the best pastor for me because he knows what he's talking about.
The dynamics, the relationship.
Right. He says the right things that makes my gears turn, and he feeds me the word that I need.
Mm-hmm.
So all that comes with a choice that is not an easy choice, and much like Neo. Now, before I even get into that, we are chosen.
We are chosen. Neo was chosen too.
Neo was chosen too, but he didn't know that he was the one.
Yeah.
Now,
maybe a lot of our listeners are probably wondering, am I chosen?
Right.
Hey,
the choice is only yours.
Hey, you have to make the choice. Yeah.
Right? You have to make the choice. I was thinking a lot, man. Since we recorded this and then it didn't record, but
all things work for good, my brother.
But everybody has this one character that it's like, okay, I'll ask you.
Yeah,
right?
Shoot.
And what's the one character? And I hate to say character because they know actors, but but a character. Okay, what's the one biblical character that you could say that you either can relate or you see yourself like that person? Like, do you see yourself like a Simon?
I wish. I look up to Simon. I wish I was.
Okay.
I'm a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
He was an apostle. He was kind of like a pastor, setting churches and
Mm-hmm.
teaching others and supervising. But Simon, he was hardcore, brother.
Yeah.
He was hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to be used like the Bible characters.
Yeah.
Let's call them characters, but they're real live
Yeah.
people. It's not a fictitious story; it's a real story.
Right.
So everybody wants to be used by God in these miraculous and amazing ways. But if we really look at it, the price they paid and the sacrifice and what they had to give up, and how that transition was to go from the Matrix, let's just call it that, from the Matrix to the real life, and
to the right.
And then to realize that it wasn't just. It was their choice to awaken and to walk into Christ or follow Christ, but that then there was power and authority with that, and then to be mind blown, because that's what it is to know that God is using you and that you have this ability that goes beyond your understanding. I mean, I wish I was like Simon. They stoned him and they left him for dead. My man got back up and went back in to preach.
But even like with Simon, like to live in that grid of that grid of darkness, right?
Yeah.
Like to be in that boat and it seems like nothing could go right.
Yeah.
And you have to pay this debt. And the only way that to pay this debt is you have to collect as many fishes as you can. Right?
Yep.
So that is the currency. That's the currency that he needs right now to get him out of this jam.
Yep.
And to be in that grid where you're like, man, like nothing is, and to follow again a voice that just tells you, like you meet like this person and get back on the boat and go back out.
Cast it where I tell you.
Yeah, cast it where I tell you. Like, come on, dog. I was just there for like 2 days and 3 nights.
I'm a professional at this. How you gonna tell me how to do my job?
Which 2 days and 3 nights is not even possible. But I'm just saying, like, he just looked at him like, come on, bro. I'm tired right now. Don't bother me with your shenanigans.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right? You're ready to quit.
Yeah, like you're ready to quit, and it's like, no, don't quit. Go back, and that's something that he was going through, that he had to learn through the process, right? Not to doubt himself, but not to doubt God neither.
Yeah.
Right. But who's that character though?
For me, I listen. I admire a great deal David.
Oh, so
David.
You're like a David.
I like David.
Okay.
Because
Was it because of the whole like Goliath, like you know,
Goliath? No, not so much the Goliath
you
story.
know,
No,
no,
that's the least of it. What really impresses me about Brother David is that.
which to kind of pause you, but you know, Hiram was David's best friend.
Yes, indeed.
So it's kind of, you know, I just had to throw this. I just had to throw that out there. But yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, so David.
David was a warrior
Mhm.
despite his appearance, despite his statues, despite so to the eye, he just seemed like a little kid, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And he wasn't the best at he wasn't the one that people would choose. He wasn't the first choice, you know. He was the youngest. He was in the wilderness. He played an harp. He took care of the sheep. My man smelled like sheep. And I don't know if you've been to the farms. Sheep do not smell nice.
Does not smell good.
No, especially a wet sheep does not. It's not pleasant.
Mhm.
So, but despite all that, you know, he receives the calling. He's anointed. He's chosen. He believes the calling. He accepts it, but he doesn't rush to it, you know.
Mhm.
And he's patient. Yes, he demonstrates a ton of imperfections, and that's why I like him so much.
Mhm.
Not because he was imperfect, but I like him because he was imperfect, but still retained his promise and still believed God. And he knew that his weakness was not a limitation to God. You know,
Mhm.
he did
Mhm.
something wrong. God confronted him. He asked for forgiveness, and he changed his ways. You know,
Right.
the Bible doesn't say he kept on committing the same sin over and over again, or
Mhm.
that he gave excuses, nor that he said, "Oh, I give up. I can't do this."
Right.
No,
Right.
my man was persistent, and
Right.
I think that's what that's what really defined him for me, um, as one of my favorite characters. That he wouldn't give up. He's hard headed.
Yeah. He was definitely hard. I mean, that Goliath would tell you everything. Like you know. You know, you know what's kind of crazy? I'm gonna tell you what character like I which is like you're gonna be kind of shocked a little bit, but don't be shocked, okay?
No, great.
But the character that and it's funny because they really don't speak a lot about this character. He's not really like he has an important role, but he's really not
the top 10 most spoken.
Not even like the top 20. I love Nicodemus.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm really like I see myself like him for a lot of reasons. He is funny because I kind of look at Nicodemus and it's like, you know, he's hearing about everything that's going on.
He's hearing Jesus.
You know, and it's like his ears is like, yo, this sounds crazy. You know, like this sounds like kind of crazy. But he goes on with his life because that's how real life is. You know, you could hear about certain things, but at the end of the day, life keeps on going on, right? But the news and the rate of the news, I could just imagine, like, oh my God, this guy, he's going around with these apostles.
He's doing it again.
And he's doing it again. And he's like, yo, like, you know. And to be able to have that sit down with Jesus, because you know what's crazy about that? Everybody likes to, oh, well, why didn't he do it in the daytime? Why he did it, you know, like hiding and nighttime, yeah. It doesn't, you know,
doesn't matter really.
God knows all things, right? Yeah. So, you know, and even God moved. You got to understand, even Jesus moved accordingly. Like Jesus just wasn't like this, like RoboCop that was just like walking around. Like he knew that around his enemies, like he had to like, you know, like he kind of had to like tippy toe a little bit.
It's
you know
not
what I'm saying?
Time to die. So
right. It's not my time. So, you know, he's a person that knows all things. But to sit down and to have that discussion with Jesus, right? And, you know, like when Jesus tells him, you know,
you got to be born again.
You have to be born again. It's like,
what?
This ties into the Matrix. It's like, where it's like, you're trying to figure out,
Mhm.
and you're speaking to the source,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But he's telling you like you have to be born again, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like this sounds like gibberish, you know. And I mean, the out of that conversation, one of the most famous verse and talked of verse, the verses of verses. If you was to say top 3 verse, John 3:16.
yeah.
You know,
For God so loved the world that gave an only begotten Son, for all them that believe in Him shall be saved.
right,
Yeah, it's,
right. Out of that conversation, that comes out,
mhm.
and why I like him so much is because you could tell that he had to sit with that and like really think about this.
Mhm, mhm.
Like it wasn't no like, all right, everybody, let's just put on a jacket and let's just follow this guy. Like he really had to sit down and think about it. And why I like him is because the Bible never said that he rejected him.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, obviously he showed up
Yeah, yeah,
after his crucifixion. So that shows you
yeah.
like he's damn, they did that to my man. Like, you know what I mean? Like they did that to
He was asking questions. He was
yeah,
rejecting. He
yeah.
was trying to make sense.
He was trying to make sense. He
What you
didn't
mean I gotta be born again?
right. Like he didn't like he didn't jump the gun.
Mhm.
Like he really had to. And I like him so much that I try to like kind of like, if there's a person that I want to follow, it'll be like a person like that, because even though he's not like the most talked about, but his gaps in between, a lot of people say that he was a disciple at the very end, there's really no confirmation about that. But it's just the fact that he got to sit down with Jesus, and even sitting down, could you imagine like you sitting down with Jesus or like God, and then be like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then to still say like, all right, I need some time to think about this.
I'm trying to digest what you're telling me, Jesus.
Like, I need some time to think about this. That's, but you have to respect a man like that.
Yeah.
You honestly really have to respect somebody like that. Like the fact that he didn't, he was he didn't, and it's crazy because he didn't stop believing in his beliefs.
Yeah, no, he was a teacher of the law.
He was a teacher of the law,
And
right?
He still went to Jesus to see, like,
right.
what's going on.
Right. But nowhere did he like, oh, you know what? All right. I'm like, he still moved accordingly. I mean, he was a part of a pack. They all move a certain way, they all talk a certain way. So, he still had to lingo, because you can't throw away like the years that you've been putting in with people, and you've been learning and reading books and reciting and teaching. And
it's hard to accept something new when you've been
Yeah.
it's been ingrained into
yeah,
you.
yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
crazy. So, God tells him, just think about it, bro. I'll leave the pill right here on top of the table
That's
for you.
the
bro.
choice. That's
Just-
his choice moment, right?
Yeah, you just put it
Red
inside.
pill or blue
yeah,
pill?
yeah,
Which
man.
one?
Just put it inside, man, like your little robe, and whenever you wanna, whenever you wanna make that choice. But he didn't. Just because he didn't make the choice right there and then, it didn't mean that he believed or didn't believe. It just mean that the information was so important to him that he really wanted to like really like sit down and like dwell, and it's like, wow, like this is like so surreal.
Something beautiful is that Jesus says, you're a teacher, you don't know these things,
Right.
But he still had the time to talk to him and
Right.
didn't reject him. He
Right,
didn't say,
yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
I'm
like
wasting
he
my
wasn't
time."
arrogant, like get out of here, you fake teacher.
Yeah.
Like, but and he didn't down his knowledge neither, because that's bro, could you imagine like not believing in the aliens and then you're having dinner with an alien at the Olive Garden? Like, bro, like
That's wild, bro. What place is the Olive Garden?
yeah, pass me the breadsticks. It's gonna be a very long night, Like, what do you think that conversation is gonna be like? Like, that's not just gonna be like a conversation, like just like, okay, I'm gonna just believe everything that's just. It's
So where are you from again?
yeah. It's one thing to hear about something all your life and study it, but to meet and to be face to face with this entity, with this, it's so surreal.
Yeah.
It is very surreal.
Takes that leap of faith.
Oh my
actually.
God, like tremendously. So, and that's how the Matrix is. That's how the same pill that was given to Nicodemus, like it's the same pill that's given to you and me. And this is why we have a very liking to the movie. Now, the interesting thing is the colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this like in the in the podcast that nobody heard about, but yeah. But the blue and red, blue and red, and it's really interesting the choosing, excuse me, of those two colors, because you look at Jesus' paintings, he has blue and red robe. Even in the Last Supper, he's wearing blue and red. Those two colors, like you think about heaven, blue skies. Mm-hmm. You think about hell, red. So it's real interesting, mm-hmm. Like the pattern. And there was a website that I found here, and I'm just gonna read a couple things from this website. But this website speaks about meanings of colors in the Bible explained. Cool. Okay, so so let's just go to blue. So blue in the Bible represents heaven, and then it uses Exodus 24 verse 10. Okay, and the healing power of God in the story of Christ healing the woman who had an issue with the blood for 12 years. The color of hem was blue. Mm-hmm. And then this is Luke chapter 8, verse 40 to 48. Blue is also the color of the sky and consistent reminder of heavenly realm. And it's also found in the mean purple. And then Ezekiel 23, verse 6. Besides heaven, the color blue indicates the Holy Spirit and the truth as a lighter shade of blue. These were often used to represent the Virgin Mary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So very interesting there. And now when we get into red, okay, we got red is the color of blood. Mm-hmm. As such, it's no surprise that the biblical meaning of red is to signify blood somehow. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of blood imagery in the Bible. John 6, verse 55. Most prominently, of course, in the crucifixion and the sequence of purification through the resurrection. And it says, but the color red can also represent earthliness. The Hebrew word for scarlet also has the same root meaning as the Hebrew word for earth, opening the several parallels. So, and then it also goes into the symbolism and the use of color, used a lot in the color of Adam, was created from dust to earth, right? Mm-hmm. Genesis 7 verse, or the Genesis chapter 7, no, 2 verse 7. I'm sorry. Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. Yeah. And then sin is often referred to using the color red or scarlet. This makes sense because all earthly beings, all earthly beings successible to sin, but through the Lord holy power, they can be purified and made holy pure again. So really, really, really interesting. And there's a lot of they talk about yellow but I just wanted to really get into that, that red and blue. So you have earthliness that's going on, right? That's represented by red. And then you have blue, which is the skies. Right. And again, it's no coincidence that they chose those two colors, because it's when you kind of read that and you're like, damn, man, it's kind of like they knew,
Yeah, they did. It had to be intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing is just done just to be done, Yeah. So there definitely had to be some symbolism, that they really sat down and they really thought about. And And that coincides with everything else. It's either you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. You're either a police officer or you're or you're a fighter. You can't be both. You can't be Democrat and Republican. You can't be a blood and a Crip. Like there's a lot of things that you can't be like at the same time. So with all that, I say, which pill are you going to take? Now I know that you had like some notes that you definitely wrote and some definitely.
No. I'm enjoying what you're saying. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
But with all this being said, it's what pill are you going to choose? And choose not knowing, and and this is something that I said a while back, but don't choose the obvious, right? Because you want to treat God as like the lifesaver, because it's very easy. I think a lot of people, I don't know, man, like it's cool to be real. I mean, because we're going to say a lot of real things. A lot of times you have to question yourself, man, like why do you follow Jesus Christ?
Mm-hmm.
Why is Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior? What has he done to prove to you that you're like, you know what, this is the Lord, like this is the guy that I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much about like I don't want to go to hell, or like I just want, because what's crazy about it is that right now the trumpets could sound, and there's a possibility that you're gonna, like, nothing is promised, right?
I don't know.
So you could with affirmative, with affirmative in your tongue, like, no, I'm going up, but you're not the judge of yourself.
Yeah. You got to be living right, and not just living right, but just covered by His sacrifice. Not just be chosen, but you have to accept that choice,
Mm-hmm.
and then nobody can do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make reference back to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Neo, and just by the way, the name Neo means new birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another
Mm-hmm.
symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a type of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And even the characters keep on referring to him. Are you the one? Are you the Savior?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to save us from the Matrix?
Right.
The Matrix being the space that everybody's plugged into.
Mm-hmm.
It's what everybody's doing. And actually, if you look at the definition of matrix, it's actually defined as an environment, a surrounding, a medium, or a structure.
Mm.
And that's what it was. You're plugged into this computer system that is feeding you images and is making you think that you're free, but you're really just being sucked dry for your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you think you're happy and you're content
Mm-hmm.
because you're doing the things that you think you want to do, but come to find out that's not even what you want to do, because you don't have a choice
Mm-hmm.
in the matter, but you're happy with it because it's known and it's consistent. And how often aren't we comfortable with what we know?
Mm-hmm.
And to take a leap of faith is just really scary. It's
Mm-hmm.
just terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So but Neo means new, and he's that type of Christ, and he's presented with a choice.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't ever, I love this movie so much, because if you don't ever want to set foot in a church and hear the message of salvation,
Yeah, just
if
watch
you
that
watch
movie.
that movie,
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
are
get
in
the
church.
message of salvation.
Yeah. Just watch it every Sunday. You're gonna get it. Trust me.
You eventually it's gonna click, and it's gonna start raising those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait a second, am I really free?
Mm-hmm.
And do I really have a choice?
Mm-hmm.
Am I exercising my choice? Is the matrix a real thing?
Mm-hmm.
Am I plugged into the matrix? Am I doing the same thing over and over?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
What does freedom really feel like? And it turns out that once he was free, he took that red pill.
Mm-hmm.
They actually show this whole scene where he's in a pod and he is reborn.
Yeah.
And it was painful,
Mm-hmm.
and it took time for him to build up his muscles, and his eyes hurt because
he never used them.
he had never used them. When you're blind, it's crazy, but that's what the Matrix does to you. It keeps you blind to reality,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps you living in a fictitious world,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what Christianity offers you. Not an easy path, not
Mm-hmm.
it, because being a Christian is not easy.
Yeah, it's
It
not.
doesn't. Being a Christian, God never said everything is going to be good, everything's going to be easy, but He does offer you that red pill, which,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, signifies the blood. And in the Bible, there's so much. Um, Descriptive language around the blood and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, and
Mm-hmm.
that being the new covenant. And even when Jesus drank wine, He was said, "Do this in memory of me every time you do it." You know, remembering the shedding of my blood and what I did for you to
Mm-hmm.
to buy you, pay for your freedom,
Mm-hmm.
for your ransom, and so when you make that choice, you're actually saying, "Yeah, I'm going to take that leap of faith." I want to see what's on the other side. I want to wake up from this. And often a lot of people can't handle it
Mm-hmm.
or decide, nah, I need to go back. Like that one character, what was it named? Tank?
Oh,
He
Tank,
wanted to be
Tank.
plugged back into
Yo,
the
Tank,
Matrix.
Tank was he's like, man, get me out of here. I want the millions.
I want the fake life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Y'all could keep all this. I'm tired of, you know, I'm tired of this big ship that's going to take me that's taking me nowhere. Like,
You know,
because there is triumph on the other side as well.
yeah.
So, maybe he thought that, oh man, I'm going to wake up it. But now that he's amongst, he's like, damn, like I'm still going through this.
Yeah, it's harder.
Yeah,
It's harder.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
truth is harder.
Yeah, it's
You
way
They
harder.
got to work harder. The pleasures of the Matrix, the fake food tasted better than the real
Yeah,
food.
yeah,
The Matrix looked nicer than the reality.
yeah. Like
You know,
everybody's drinking Minute Maid fruit punch, and I'm over here drinking this like mud slurp. Like, come on,
nutrition mud slurpee.
yeah, like
The Duncans,
yeah,
none of that really existed in their
no,
reality, and they live in a city named Zion. I mean,
yeah, come on,
it doesn't get any more biblical than that.
yeah,
And Zion is constantly, the target. They're being attacked
Mhm.
by
Mhm.
this matrix and these agents that want to keep everybody plugged
Right.
into the matrix. They'll do anything.
Right. Who, by the way, they have to disguise themselves in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Just,
That's right.
I mean, I don't know how much more biblical does this movie not really like, like it really doesn't. It doesn't get any more clearer than
the
that.
hard thing is that anybody who was plugged into the matrix was an agent for the matrix, whether they
Mhm.
knew it or not. Whether
Mhm.
they didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the matrix wanted to use them
Mm-hmm.
to keep somebody in,
Yeah.
they had no choice. They were
Yeah.
just used, and
Yeah.
isn't that? But like you're saying, isn't that what the world does? Like
Mm-hmm.
the moment you start speaking about freedom, they want to shut you up. The
Yeah.
moment you start talking about religion, they want to shut you up.
Mm-hmm.
When did being free become a bad thing? When did
Yeah.
salvation become a negative thing?
Yeah, we live in the world of the sensory. I think being a Christian now is, being a Christian in 2023 is way harder than ever. Like
Gotta be radical.
it's like like for you to say like you're Christian is like it's like you just spit in somebody's because
hate speech.
because all of a sudden they know what you're about. And it's not, don't know what I'm about, because you obviously don't know what I'm about. Know what the Bible is about,
Yeah.
because that's what we follow. And it's there's a lot of like, the Bible has so many layers to reality, to like what's going on now, that it's really synonymous with like every decade that has passed. Like it really goes like side and side, which is the reason why I don't like one of like those Christians that they like, it's like everything that's going on now, oh my God, yo, Jesus is coming. Oh, Jesus, oh, this is it. This is like, don't don't wait to see the show. Like you just like it almost seems like you're on this like to see like the grand finale. Like it happens in God's time, not in your time, but in God's time. So but don't just be in it, just to say, oh, I want to be saved, or just like really understand, because even in that movie, like even though it was like in a not like a split second, but he had to like really like kind of like think about it, like, damn, man, and he had to think about his life, and he's like, yo, why not?
Yeah.
Why?
At the one point, it cost him his life.
Yeah.
And that's what being a Christian is all about: dying to your desires.
Yeah. It's
willing to die for Christ.
Yeah, being born again. It's and nothing comes easy. You have to get rid of like the toxin. It's like dieting.
You
gotta detox. You gotta detox. It's like dieting. It's like, I love this cake. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna drink soda. I'm gonna eat this steak. I'll do it. I'll go to the gym next week. And that's just how it works. But once you become a Christian, it's like now like you're mindful about like certain things, because it doesn't mean that you're going to be like the saint that's just walking in the street. No, like you're going to fall like 100 million times even more now, because now you are aware.
And you're being attacked.
Yeah, and you're being attacked. Like a lot of people like to ask, oh well, that's why I always say that the whole Adam and Eve thing was an experiment, because everybody likes to say, oh well, if Jesus knew that he was gonna eat from that tree of knowledge, then why did he make that tree? It is because as a society, and I'm like starting to like listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I'm listening to this book by Robert Greene called The Art of Human Nature. And it's a very, very, very great book. I definitely recommend for people to read it. But it's like a kid. Once you tell the kid do not do something,
he's gonna do it.
Yo, it's like it like this kid is itching to just like, do I do it? And that's what the reality is.
But without that choice, you're not really free.
But without that choice, you're really not. But God always has to present the obstacle to you. So it's not so much that if God knew, it's not even about that. Did they know that they was going to do that?
Yeah. Well,
right.
They had a choice.
Right. They had a choice, and they made a choice. Everybody likes to, right. Everybody likes to say, "Oh, well, what was Adam in all this?" Right? Because Adam probably could have stopped it, from happening. But those choices are the most hardest, and like the people that are always around you aren't going to be there when that choice presents itself, and that's what the tree represents.
Yeah.
The tree doesn't represent an easy way, right? Like this ain't 1 + 1. This is this one choice could either mess up your life for the rest of your life, or you could come out of here glorious and just like live this life.
Which teaches us that our choices affect our families and our generations to come.
Yeah.
So what you choose today can really have an impact, positive or negative.
Right, positive or negative.
The rest of your genealogy.
Yeah. Like that could go down family, like generations.
Yeah, it can either cut your generations, end them, or really flourish them. Yeah.
So it's not about that the tree, right? People they're like not small minded, but they just, oh man, like it's like the tree. No, it's that when you're by yourself and you're presented with this obstacle that you could only make this 2 choices.
Sometimes the bad choice looks good.
Yo, like, have you ever been have you ever been like in the middle of a road, like maybe like your car's broken down, and your phone not working? You only have 2 choices, and it's like, oh man, like yo, like what the hell do I like? I could either try to flag a car down.
It may not be a good choice.
That may not be a good choice, or walk to the nearest gas station, call the cops. But you only have like 2, and in that setting, in that that situation is not an easy one, right? Because you're not in the car like, oh man, car break down, like So Adam and Eve, when Eve was put in that situation, she didn't want that, right? But it had to happen. It had to happen, and I don't think that she understood the severity of like the decision, much like everybody else. So there is a lot of truth. So I really suggest, man, that people, and this is not a podcast about listen, salvation is individual.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Salvation is. That's why
Can't force you to take the
yeah.
red pill.
That's why I'm a different breed, man. I'm a different breed. I don't like to force. There's enough, There's it's it's good to like to speak to people about like religious topics, and invite, that's nice, that's cool. But I think that the choice has to be
it has to be
only made by you.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that a lot of times when it counts is like when there's nobody around you. Like you're like, oh man, like you're like sitting down and you're like, yo, this is really happening. Like, like I think I'm going to follow Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think in the moment of most need, you
of course,
your decision, it's easier to decide for him.
Right.
When you feel you have the least to lose.
Right. Yeah. But like when it really hits you and you're like in your bed and you're like laying down and you're like, man, like what am I doing? And there's no, it's like you said, like there's no really need, because when you choose it when you're in need, it's the difference between me not having $100 and you say, hey, do you want $100? I'm going to take it. I need it.
Yeah, well,
I
need it. I want it.
Yeah, I need this like right now. So, but when you're not in need of anything, and that's like it's like one of those things. But as humans, when aren't we in need of something?
Yeah. Well, I think there's times that we feel comfortable,
right,
and satisfied with where we're at. But I think that there's times family loss, loss of a loved one, or loss of a job, or financial difficulty, or breakup of a relationship really changes. It puts strain on us, and we feel like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, the dynamic changes.
We're looking for something to comfort us.
God, if you're real, you're going to give me this phone is going to ring right now.
You said something about the gym, going back a few minutes back. And ever since you mentioned that, it's been really working in my mind, the back of my mind. It's like you said, you have to make a choice. You can't just eat all this junk food and then say, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lose weight. You got to like make a decision and be, what's the word, intentional with it, and kind of like really do your homework and put in the work to reap the results. And I just started thinking when you mentioned the gym, thought popped in my head, and so many people, I occasionally, not too often, not as often as I should or would like, visit the gym, right? That no judgment zone, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I go there and there's people
muscle shirt, stomach out. That's how I like it. No judgment zone, baby.
Me, huh?
Yeah.
And but people there, I've seen it where one gym member rubs the other gym member the wrong way.
Yeah.
And they have a moment where they brush and they're like, even sometimes words are exchanged, and looks are exchanged, and gestures are exchanged, and threats are exchanged.
Yeah.
But then later on, you see the same people still going to the gym.
Yeah.
And they're not discouraged by that moment of discomfort. On the contrary, they'd be like, nah, man, I'm not leaving my gym.
Yeah.
If you want to go, you leave. And I, why that came to mind is because, earlier in the podcast, we started talking about people having bad experiences in church. And sometimes they stop going to church because of one little bad experience. And,
right.
And throughout the podcast, you mentioned, we think we both mentioned, being Christian is not being perfect. Being Christian is just a road to betterment, a road to self-improvement, to self-discovery, and a road to salvation. So, we're imperfect people. sick people,
Mm-hmm.
emotional people, people with issues, with baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay that we're eventually going to have run-ins with one another, even in church.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a reason to say, man, I'm just giving it up
Yeah,
because
I'm just gonna hang
I
it up.
don't like the way he looked at me or he rubbed me wrong. Or,
Right.
Sometimes when it comes to things of God, we are kind of soft.
Mhm.
But when it comes to
Yeah.
things,
In the street, oh, you
Right.
brawling, bro. Like you, oh man, don't even look my way, bro.
from here.
Yeah, I'm not moving for here. But in church, it's like, oh my God, they didn't. I wanted to sing that song, and it's like you become like a needy like child, like all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah, we got to toughen up a little bit.
Yeah, bro. Like yo, like church. Listen, I tell everybody, man, don't follow me. I go to church.
Yeah.
This is for my salvation. I do the things for me. This is not a thing of like, yo, follow me because one night I might fall and I might trip. I don't want you to trip with me.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Right.
Keep your eyes on Christ.
Everybody has to be held accountable for their own thing. So
So you took the pill?
Yes. I definitely.
I'm Team Red, definitely.
Yeah, definitely Team Red. Even in real life, man, I'm Team Republican. So it's only right. Pow, 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 pow. That was the. But
I think we just lost 2 subscribers we got, bro.
Everybody's like, oh, here goes the politics. But
They're probably wondering if I'm Team Red too.
Listen, man. I mean, it's and we'll have a discussion about that too one day in the podcast. But at the end of the day, make the decision for yourself. Ask yourself, is this for me? How could this not? And it's not about benefit, because Jesus Christ is not like it's not the genie. Whenever, like it ain't the end all be all. Like really, really, sit back and analyze. Read the Bible. The Bible is not an easy thing to dissect, neither.
No.
So buy yourself a Bible that you can understand. I put myself in that realm too because I hate reading. I really hate reading.
That's the benefit of plugging yourself into a Bible teaching church where they can help you break it down.
Right. But you learn the most when you really there's a saying that if you want to hide the truth, hide it in the book.
Right?
Yeah.
This is true.
So it's like when you start to read and you're like reading like certain things and it starts to click, you're like, man, why didn't I do this? And don't take it from me. I mean, look at all the atheists that were atheists for all these years and then they finally read the Bible and it was like, yo, it's like reading a whole new it was like the best thing that they've ever read before.
Trying to prove it wrong.
Right, trying to prove it, but they never really took the time to like really dissect, what the Bible says, So like really sit down, read the Bible. I never tell people that you have to jump into a church because to be honest, that in itself is a lot, it comes with a lot, but do like little small things, just like the gym. Wake up in the morning, pray for 2 minutes. It don't even gotta be 5 minutes. Just pray for 2 minutes. Pray for 1 minute.
Pray.
Just make a little small prayer, even in your car. Like you make a little small prayer. Hey, God, thank you for this day. Thank you for blessing me, and that's it.
Sign up for daily devotional.
Right,
one verse.
Right.
Get it in.
Yeah. Just one verse, and then before you go to sleep, another little, small prayer, like half a second or something like that, and just say, hey, you know what? On Wednesdays, I'm gonna read one Bible chapter. Like I'm gonna just read one Bible chapter and like really dissect. Like, wow, man, like what does that really mean? And if there's words that you don't understand, schmoogle it. Look it up. But if there's something that you don't understand, don't.
You brush it off.
Don't brush it off or let somebody else tells you what it means. No, like just go on your phone, go on your smartphone, look it up, and dissect it for yourself.
Amen.
So amen to that. So we are in a church. So I know that you're hearing all the kids and everything, and the service is about to start. But I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I know it's been a month and a half, man. But I will say this episode was way better than the episode that nobody in here. I promise you that.
And I do want to say, please put your comments, questions.
Yes. I'm dying for like the first
some
comment.
kind of feedback.
Yeah. I'm dying for the. And yo, thank you for the 127 soldiers, man, have been listening to this to the last podcast.
Nice.
So yeah, man. So if you're listening, please spread the word.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like I said, comment. Let us know what do you think about this, and if you disagree, that's fine. I love people that disagree with me.
Oh yeah.
Those
Tell
are
me
like
about
the-
it, please.
Yeah,
Don't
those are like the best people. I like to be around people that disagree with me all the time. So don't think that I'm gonna like dislike you. I'm actually gonna love you now that you disagree with me.
You're real.
Yeah. Thank you for not being a bot,
Yes.
Yeah, I hope, man, that you enjoy this. God bless to everybody. I hope that you have a phenomenal, blessed week. And till next time.
Yes, indeed. God bless you all. And well, I'm Team Red, so take the pill. Think about it.
Think about it.
You don't want to hear the Bible talk? Just watch the movie.
Yeah. Watch the movie at least like 2 times. You know what I mean? All right, man. Till next time. Peace out, everybody. God bless.
God bless.